There's a folder sitting in almost every Audi shop in the country. It's full of repair bills between $8,000 and $15,000 that never had to happen. Not one of them was caused by bad luck, and not one of them was caused by bad engineering. Every single one was caused by an owner who didn't know to check 10 simple things, month after month, before it was too late. One item on this list, if ignored, lets water back up into your cabin and short out your entire electrical system. Another one, if you skip it enough times, lets your timing chain jump teeth and destroy your engine in seconds. I'm going to walk you through all 10, starting at number 10 and counting down to the one that catches more Audi owners off guard than anything else on this list. Number 10, check your water drainage and plenum chamber. Audi builds a whole network of channels into these cars just to move rainwater away from the body. There's the cowl and plenum chamber under the windshield, and there's drain lines built into the sunroof. Both are there to keep water from getting anywhere near your electronics. The problem is, sensitive hardware sits right below the cabin floor and inside the lower kick panels. That includes your body control module, your amplifier, and your comfort electronics. If water backs up in that cowl, it doesn't take long to short something out. Once a month, pop the hood and clear out leaves and debris around the firewall and brake booster area. That stuff clogs the drain valves fast. If you've got a sunroof, open it and pour a little clean water into the front corner drain channels. It should run out right behind the front wheel arch almost instantly. If it's slow, there's silt built up in the line. Finally, press down on your front and rear floor carpets. Any dampness or a musty smell means water is already getting where it shouldn't, and you need to deal with it before it reaches the wiring underneath. If you catch dampness in the carpet, don't just towel it off and move on. That moisture is usually backing up through the A-pillar grommets or the climate control housing, and it will keep coming back until the actual drain path is cleared. Left alone long enough, you're not just looking at a damp floor, you're looking at pulling carpet and replacing modules that were never designed to get wet in the first place. Before we get to the next one, if you want a more in-depth look into how your BMW or Mercedes can last 100,000, 200,000, or even 300,000 miles, these ebooks reveal the exact maintenance secrets and brand-specific strategies that every BMW or Mercedes owner should know. If you want to check them out, the link is down in the description below. Number 9. Inspect your suspension hydro-bushings. Audi's front suspension uses a multi-link setup with 4 control arms per side. To smooth out road vibration without ruining handling, the big lower control arms use hydraulic bushings filled with fluid. That fluid is what gives you a comfortable ride and sharp steering at the same time. Over time, heat and hard braking crack the rubber bladder inside those bushings. Once that happens, the fluid leaks out and you're left with metal moving against rubber with no cushion left. Once a month, turn your wheels to full lock and get a flashlight on the lower inboard control arm bushings. Worn ones show dark, oily staining and deep cracks in the rubber. Then take it for a short drive over a speed bump or two and brake firmly at low speed. Clunking or popping noises mean there's play that shouldn't be there. On the highway, a floaty or wandering feeling means the same thing. If you've got access to a lift, a pry bar between the subframe and the control arm sleeve shouldn't move more than 2 or 3 millimeters. Anything past that, the bushing has failed. It helps to understand the actual path the load takes through that joint. Power and road force move from the subframe into the control arm body through that fluid-filled bushing and then out to the steering knuckle through an outer ball joint. When the hydro bushing is healthy, it's cushioning that whole connection. Once it fails, you've got a straight metal-on-rubber pivot with nothing dampening it, which is exactly why the clunking and wandering show up so suddenly. Number 8. Check for thermostat housing and water pump leaks. Audi's turbo 4-cylinder and V6 engines use a cooling system where the thermostat housing and water pump are built together out of composite plastic. That plastic works fine on its own, but oil leaking from the valve cover or timing covers above it drips right onto that housing. Hot engine oil softens plastic over time. Eventually, the housing swells, cracks along the sealing flange, and starts losing coolant under pressure. Once a month, check your coolant level cold and make sure it sits right at the max line. A slow leak from this housing often evaporates off the hot engine before it ever hits the ground, so you won't always see a puddle in the driveway. Get a flashlight down along the front left side of the engine block below the intake. Look for dried pink or white crusty residue. That's crystallized coolant, and it means the seal is already leaking. Check the plastic splash shield underneath too. A sweet smell or pink residue there confirms it. The failure point actually depends on which engine you've got under the hood. On the 2.0 turbo 4 cylinders, it's usually the composite housing warping from oil contamination above it, leaving that pink or white crust below the intake. On the 3.0 turbo V6, it's more often a vacuum-actuated water pump shroud that binds up, showing itself as a slow drop in the coolant tank instead of a visible puddle. On the supercharged and V8 models, it tends to be the thermostat sticking closed, which shows up as sudden temperature spikes instead of a leak. Knowing which pattern applies to your engine tells you exactly what to look for. Number 7. Test your battery voltage and electrical system. Audis run a lot of computers talking to each other constantly, and all of them depend on a healthy battery. When voltage drops too low, the car's energy management system starts shutting off secondary systems, which can trigger warning lights that have nothing to do with the actual problem. Once a month, let the car sit for 2 hours with the ignition off. Then check voltage across the jump start terminals with a multimeter. A fully charged battery reads between 12.6 and 12.8 volts. Anything between 12.2 and 12.4 volts means it's partially discharged and needs a charge. Below 12 volts, you're in real trouble, and you're risking dropouts across the whole electrical network on startup. While you're cranking the engine, watch how far the voltage dips. If it drops below 9.6 volts, the battery's internal resistance is climbing, and it's time for a new one. Check the terminals in the trunk spare wheel well too, and make sure they're tight and free of corrosion. These cars use an AGM battery paired with an energy management module that's constantly monitoring state of charge. When that module senses the battery dropping below its threshold, it doesn't just dim your dome light, it starts shedding load across systems that seem totally unrelated. And that's why a weak battery can throw false fault codes on your ABS, your sport differential, or even your airbag system. A lot of owners chase those codes for weeks before anyone thinks to check the battery first. Number 6. Measure tire tread depth for Quattro tolerance. Audi's Quattro system, whether it's a mechanical torsion center differential or an electro-hydraulic Haldex setup, depends on all 4 tires spinning at the same rate. When tread wears unevenly, the tires have different rolling diameters, and that forces the drivetrain to compensate constantly. That constant compensation creates friction and heat inside the differential or clutch pack, and over time, it wears those parts down well before they should fail. Once a month, get a tread depth gauge and measure the inner, center, and outer grooves on all 4 tires. On torsion and crown gear Quattro systems, Audi says you can't have more than 2/32 of an inch of variance between any of the tires. Haldex-based systems allow a little more, up to 3/32, but sticking to that same 2/32 limit protects the hydraulic feed pump longer. If you find uneven wear building up, rotate the tires front to back before that gap gets any wider. It's a cheap fix compared to a rebuilt differential. Which failure you're risking depends on which Quattro system your Audi has. The mechanical torsion system found in cars like the A4, A6, A8, and Q7 suffers worm gear overload and differential binding when tread gets out of spec. The Haldex coupling used in transverse cars like the A3, S3, and TT tends to overheat the multi-plate clutch and burn out the feed pump instead. And newer B9 generation cars running Quattro Ultra face wear on the claw clutch alignment surfaces. Different hardware, same root cause, and the same simple fix. Number 5. Test your PCV valve and crankcase vacuum. The PCV system sits on top of the valve cover and controls pressure inside the crankcase. Inside it is a rubber diaphragm that manages that pressure, and that diaphragm breaks down over time from heat and oil vapor exposure. When it tears, intake vacuum pulls directly on the crankcase with nothing to regulate it. That draws oil into the engine and puts stress on your seals, including the rear main seal at the back of the engine. Once a month, start the engine, let it idle at full temperature, and try to unscrew the oil filler cap. A healthy system has light resistance and the cap lifts off easily. A torn diaphragm creates strong suction that holds the cap down, sometimes with a whistling or squealing sound. If you've got a code reader, check your fuel trims at idle. A healthy engine sits close to 0. A torn diaphragm pushes that number up to +10 or +25%. And you may see codes like P05-2E or P0171 stored as well. Under normal operation, that PCV valve is supposed to hold the crankcase at a slight negative vacuum, nothing extreme. It's a small spring-loaded balance between the crankcase and the intake. Once the diaphragm tears, that spring can't fight back against manifold vacuum anymore, and unrestricted suction pulls straight through the crankcase. That's what's actually distorting your rear main seal and pulling oil mist into the intake, and it's why a torn diaphragm, left unchecked, eventually turns into an oil leak at the back of the engine, not just a rough idle. Number 4. Check for intake valve carbon buildup. Audi's TFSI engines inject fuel directly into the cylinder instead of the intake port. That's great for power and efficiency, but it means gasoline never washes over the intake valves the way it does in older engines. Oil vapor from the crankcase settles on those hot valves instead and bakes into carbon over time. Heavy carbon buildup disrupts airflow into the cylinder, and that shows up as roughy idle and hesitation, especially first thing in the morning. Once a month, pay attention to your first cold start of the day before the engine's warmed up. A clean intake settles into a steady idle quickly. Stumbling or RPM dips in that first minute point toward carbon restricting the ports. If you've got a code reader, check the misfire counters across all cylinders during that cold start. Consistent low-level misfires with no other cause usually mean carbon buildup. A full visual check with a borescope camera through the intake is worth doing about once a year. That yearly borescope check is more involved than most of the monthly items on this list, but it's worth knowing what it actually involves. The manifold absolute pressure sensor gets pulled off the intake, which opens up a path for a thin articulating camera to travel down into the ports. From there, you can actually grade how much carbon has built up on each valve stem, rather than guessing based on how the engine feels. It's the only way to confirm what your monthly cold start checks are telling you. Number 3, track your oil consumption and quality. Turbocharged Audi engines run hot and use low-friction piston rings, so some oil use is normal. But a sudden increase points to real problems, like a failing PCV separator or worn turbo seals. Most newer Audis don't even have a dipstick anymore, so tracking this takes a little discipline. Once a month, park on level ground, run the engine to full temperature, shut it off, and wait 2 minutes for the oil to settle. Check the digital oil level reading in the MMI screen and write down the mileage. Anything under half a quart per 1,000 miles is normal. Over a full quart per 1,000 miles means something's wrong, likely stuck rings or a PCV bypass issue. While you're checking, look under the oil cap too. A gray milky residue means moisture from short trips, and a strong fuel smell means injector dilution, which weakens the oil and calls for an immediate change. The reason this one takes real discipline is that modern Audis took the guesswork out of checking oil, but they also took away the easy visual habit a dipstick gives you. Without something physical to pull and wipe, it's easy to just assume the level is fine and forget to look for months. Getting in the habit of opening that MMI screen once a month is the only way you'll catch a turbocharger starting to burn oil, or a piston ring packing with carbon before it turns into a bigger repair. Number 2, check your timing chain stretch. The EA888 engine uses a hydraulic tensioned roller chain to keep the crankshaft and camshafts in sync. Over time and miles, that chain physically stretches as the links and bushings wear down. The tensioner takes up the slack, but it only has so much travel before the chain can jump a tooth and destroy the engine. Once a month, if you've got access to VCDS or OBDeleven, connect to the engine module and check the camshaft phase position angle at idle, fully warmed up. Readings between 0 and -2.9 degrees are normal. Between -3 and -4.9 means moderate stretch, and you should plan for service soon. -5 degrees or worse is a critical warning, and the car shouldn't be driven until it's fixed. You can also check this physically. There's a rubber plug on the lower front timing cover, and with a mirror, you can count the exposed tensioner teeth. 6 or more visible teeth means the chain needs replacing now, no matter what the numbers say. If you do end up needing the repair, it's worth knowing that Audi actually revised the timing chain tensioner design after early units suffered from ratchet mechanism failures that allowed the chain to jump timing. The updated tensioner carries a different part number than the original, and any shop doing this job should be checking that the newer design goes in during the repair. Putting the old style back in just sets you up to have the same conversation again down the road. Number 1. Run a full OBD2 diagnostic scan. An Audi can be storing fault codes in a dozen different modules without ever turning on your check engine light. Coolant pump issues, EVAP leaks, and differential warnings can sit quietly in memory for months before they become a real problem. Once a month, connect a proper VAG-specific tool like VCDS or OBDeleven to the port under the driver's side dash. Run a full scan across every module, including the engine, transmission, ABS, electronics, all-wheel drive, airbags, and climate control. Pay attention to the difference between a one-time code from a cold start and a code that keeps coming back. If something powertrain related shows up, like a misfire or lean condition code, look at the freeze frame data logged with it. That tells you the exact conditions when it happened, which makes diagnosing the real cause a lot easier. Clear the minor stuff once it's logged, so next month's scan stays clean and useful. A few codes are worth knowing by number because they tend to come up more than others. P052E and P2279 usually point back to the PCV system we already talked about. P0171 means the engine's running lean, and P0300 or P0507 point toward random misfires or an unmetered air vacuum leak pushing idle RPM higher than expected. None of these mean you're stranded on the side of the road, but every one of them is your car telling you something before it becomes a bigger bill. That's all 10. None of this takes a mechanic's toolbox or a lift in your garage. It takes about 30 minutes a month and a little bit of discipline. The owners who actually do this are the same ones putting 200,000 miles on their Audi without ever seeing a 5-figure repair bill. The ones who skip it are the ones paying for a new wiring harness or a rebuilt engine. Pick one day a month, run through this list, and you'll be ahead of almost every other Audi owner on the road. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, and if you like content like this, hit that subscribe button, and I will see you in the next one.